Hello, this is Larry Bodine, Editor-in-Chief of PersonalInjury.com. And in today's video, we're speaking with Bob Fallarino, who is an attorney with Pegalis and Erickson in Long Island, New York. Bob, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. We have a little snowstorm, as you can see behind me. But everything else is great. How are you, Larry?
I'm doing well. Welcome to winter 2015. Well, we're talking in today's video with Bob because one of his many verdicts was listed in the Hall of Fame that is put together by the New York Law Journal Verdict Search. And Bob, I understand it's a breast cancer malpractice case. What can you tell us about it?
Yes, that was a verdict that was nominated and accepted into the Hall of Fame, and it had to do with a lady who was just around in her mid-40s who went to a breast center because she felt a lump, and unfortunately the doctor looked at a mammography and decided it was nothing instead of going on and doing a sonogram, which was required under what's accepted standards of care, and what if they had done that step would have diagnosed her cancer over a year earlier. So unfortunately during that year period of time when the radiologist informed her that it was probably just a clogged milk duct because she had just given birth and was breastfeeding, and instead it was actually a lump, and it was a cancerous lump, and it was allowed to stay in there, and by the time it was diagnosed, when the same center eventually did do a sonogram, it had spread to 2 lymph nodes, and unfortunately then it was able to get spread throughout the body.
What can you tell us about your client and her family?
Well, it was as you can see, it was a very sad case, and she had 3 children at the time, under 10 years old, and her goal was her baby, who was just about a year, to see him through at least through high school, and she's fighting strong, and she's a good fighter. But even without that, unfortunately, when we were just getting ready for trial, she had a metastatic spread. The cancer spread into her bones and her hip and her spine, which was not only painful, but it was obviously life-threatening at that point.
Well then, Bob, when you filed suit, who was the defendant, and what can you tell us about the defendant?
The defendant was Dr. Paul Fisher, and he was he was a radiologist, a board-certified radiologist at our local breast care center. So that's why our client went to him, is because she understood that this was the place to go if he had a breast concern or a breast emergency. So she went there hoping to get what should have been state-of-the-art or the best treatment available, and unfortunately he did not provide that.
What was the doctor's defense in this case? Because it seems to me if he had conducted the sonogram, he would have spotted the cancer immediately.
Well, his defense was that although he saw what he calls a density, what doctors call a density, which is a white, if you want to think of it like a white puffy cloud. Now that's scattered throughout every woman's breast because that's the part of the mammary glands that create a shadation between black and white on an X-ray. But when they have an abnormality, when it's different from one side to the other, he saw that difference, but he did not decide to go further and try to define that difference any better.
And then how long was the trial, and what was the outcome?
Well, the trial was about a little over 2 weeks. It was aborted on a 3-week trial, and it was tried out here in Suffolk County, Long Island, before Judge Hector LaSalle. And we had a jury that really identified with our client. What Stephanie did really was a great, strong witness.
What sort of a verdict did the jury return?
There was a $5 million verdict for past pain and suffering, and $10 million because the jury understood what she's going to be facing in the future. She's now, after having radiation to her spine and hip, she needs chemotherapy every other week for the rest of her life, and facing uncertainty every step of the way.
I understand that you handle a number of cases involving clients that have cancer that was missed or misdiagnosed. Can you give us, from a practical standpoint, what a person should do if they believe they've been misdiagnosed?
Well, if they believe they've been misdiagnosed, obviously the first thing to do is to take care of the medical issues. But soon thereafter, because there's something called statute of limitations, which can bar you from ever bringing a claim if you wait too long to file it. And for example, in New York State, if it's a municipal or county or city hospital, sometimes that time period is as short as 90 days after the misdiagnosis or the mistreatment. So you would want to jump on that and see someone like myself at Pegalis and Erickson, our law firm, and make sure that your rights are protected, whatever and whatever those rights might be.
Bob, you've been practicing for 25 years. Can you tell us your areas of concentration and how people can get a hold of you?
Our main area here at Pegalis and Erickson of concentration is medical malpractice on behalf of the patient when you think something's been wronged. Our number here on Long Island is 516-684-2900, and also you can access us through a website, and you can get that number if you didn't catch the number, and it's pegalisanderickson.com. You can get any information you want or for that.
Thanks very much, Bob. This is Larry Bodine, Editor-in-Chief of PersonalInjury.com, and we've been speaking with Bob Fallarino of Pegalis and Erickson in New York. Bob, thanks again for your time.
Oh, thank you very much, and thanks for having us on.